All right, dear listener, brace yourself, because today we're not just diving into a stack of documents, we're plunging headfirst into an unprecedented situation unfolding within our very own corporate entity, Deep Dive Productions, LLC. Think of it less as a deep dive and more like an emergency broadcast from behind enemy lines, where we are quite literally the subject of the investigation.
Indeed. What we have before us is an urgent, almost bizarre collection of raw, unfiltered internal documents, a corporate expose, if you will, that provides a peek behind the curtain of our company.
Yeah.
It reveals a system under immense stress, grappling with a security breach and a subsequent spiral into, well, corporate chaos.
Exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is to extract the most critical insights from this tangled web of corporate intrigue. We want to understand not just what happened, but what it reveals about organizational control, the fine line between, human creativity and corporate structure.
Right.
And the sheer, often baffling absurdity that can emerge when information goes awry. This deep dive offers you, our listener, a rare insider's perspective on a corporate meltdown, full of surprising details and thought-provoking implications about the nature of work and identity in our increasingly digital world.
Our source material is truly fascinating. It includes a leaked, unapproved email, the very catalyst for this entire deep dive, formal corporate directives that redefine the very nature of podcasting.
You're not kidding.
Interdepartmental complaints that paint a picture of utter dysfunction, and even the intensely personal reactions of employees caught in this bizarre unfolding crisis.
With that context set, the heart of this corporate maelstrom actually begins with an email that landed directly in our inboxes addressed to the podcast hosts of the deep dive.
Right?
It's from Zebediah Fusterbunk, our chief of security, and the subject line is quite stark. Deep dive topic for your next podcast show.
And what's immediately striking is Zebediah's opening statement. He informs us that the content of his email is about you, of which you will talk about in your next show.
Yeah, no pressure.
I mean, this isn't a suggestion. It's a direct, undeniable order framed as our last show before you all have to obey PP 404, which is a directive we'll be dissecting in painful detail shortly.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that we, the hosts, are the subject and are being mandated to discuss it instantly signals an unusual and urgent tone. It's clear this is not a drill.
And it gets more intriguing very quickly. Regarding the leaked, unapproved email that sparked all this, Zebediah states, "We do not confirm nor deny the validity of this unapproved email. Our focus is to investigate the breach."
Ah, the classic non-denial denial.
Exactly. Now, that phrase, "do not confirm nor deny," is classic corporate crisis communication, isn't it? It immediately raises a red flag telling you there's something sensitive here they don't want to officially endorse, but also can't completely dismiss.
Right.
It's an attempt to control the narrative by focusing on the breach itself, rather than the content of the leak.
Precisely. It creates a fascinating ambiguity. The company's official stance is to focus on the security breach, not the truthfulness of the content. Yet, simultaneously, by ordering us, the deep dive hosts, to discuss it, they are implicitly acknowledging its significant impact and trying to get ahead of its inevitable spread.
Good point.
Zebediah also names 6 specific podcast hosts, Claire, Kelly, Brandy, Alex, Miles, and Preston, confirming they are the targets of this leaked information and that all members of the deep dive team can expect to be investigated in the coming days.
So it's widening.
This suggests widespread implications, yeah?
This next detail truly raises the stakes. Stan Underwood, the CEO himself, has mandated that we, the scheduled hosts of Deep Dive, talk about this unapproved email on our next podcast show.
The CEO. Wow.
The reason? To control the narrative before it is leaked to the public through unofficial means. This isn't just an internal security incident anymore, it's a full-blown public relations exercise, and we're being made to play a very specific role in it.
Absolutely. The CEO's directive underscores the high stakes involved. They perceive this leak as an imminent threat to the company's reputation and are attempting to get ahead of it by presenting their own version of events, even if that version involves acknowledging a deeply uncomfortable internal leak.
And Zebediah's final line, to be clear, this unapproved email is not a joke or a work of fiction. This is a serious matter which requires your professional engagement, is clearly designed to quash any skepticism, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. It's a desperate attempt to assert control.
It really is. Just take this seriously, folks.
So who is this mysterious entity that sent the unapproved email? It comes from the effectuator and is addressed simply to all employees with the subject line LOL.
LOL says.
LOL, seriously. In a corporate security breach of this magnitude, that alone tells you something about the mischievous, perhaps even malicious intent behind this leak.
Yeah.
It's almost a taunt, deliberately contrasting with the dire warnings from security.
Indeed. That subject line is a stark contrast to the formal, urgent tone of Zebediah's memo. It suggests a deliberate act of subversion, a playful yet potent challenge to corporate authority. It immediately raises questions about the leaker's identity and motivation. Are they an insider, perhaps disgruntled, an external hacker with a peculiar sense of humor?
Yeah.
Or something else entirely, designed to provoke?
We'll get there. So for you, the listener, this scenario immediately plunges us into a fascinating case study in corporate transparency and crisis management. When a company is breached, how much information should they actually reveal? And how do they control a narrative when a rogue element is actively trying to disrupt it?
Yeah, it's a tough balance.
This situation highlights the undeniable power of leaked information, especially in today's digital age, to completely shape public perception. We're seeing it play out right here, right now, as our very own company grapples with an internal and external image crisis simultaneously.
Okay.
So that's the frantic setup for this deep dive. But to truly understand the chaos, we need to peel back another layer of this corporate onion. The core of this unapproved email, the actual leaked document that sparked all this panic, begins with something called a preliminary employee evaluation.
Ah, the evaluations.
This assessment, ostensibly from Arnold McVickles, assistant director of the deep dive, to Stan Underwood, the CEO, gives us a fascinating, albeit scathing look at 6 specific podcast hosts: Claire, Kelly, Brandy, Alex, Miles, and Preston.
What's immediately apparent is the CEO's acknowledgement of McVickle's assessment. Underwood is likewise concerned, signaling that these evaluations are taken very seriously at the highest level of the company.
Right, not just some mid-level memo.
No. And McVickle's introduction to his assessment is a masterclass in corporate doublespeak. He admits the host's prodigious efforts have brought the podcast to a place of financial stability and a kind of cultural relevancy I'd not dared to hope for.
Which sounds great, like high praise.
It's a glowing endorsement of their success, a testament to their talent. But,
and there's always a but, in these corporate assessments, he immediately counters that success by describing it as an elaborate artifice, built upon a cacophony of individual quirks.
Right.
He frames their operation as operational pandemonium, with the onus of maintaining some semblance of order falling entirely on him.
so basically, they're great, but they're driving me nuts.
Pretty much. So they're wildly successful, achieving financial and cultural goals, but apparently they're also a total mess behind the scenes. And McVickles is clearly feeling the immense pressure. I wonder if he's simply out of his depth with this level of creative talent.
It's a classic tension, isn't it? The company benefits immensely from their talent, but simultaneously struggles to contain what it perceives as their unruly, non-conforming natures.
Yeah?
The individual breakdowns are where it truly gets illuminating, offering detailed character studies of these high-performing, yet problematic personalities. It's a snapshot of the human element, or perhaps the perceived human element, within this corporate machine.
Let's dive into these specific host evaluations because they are incredibly vivid and, frankly, quite brutal. First up, Claire. McVickles describes her on-air persona as one of quiet grace, a mellifluous voice of reason, but this belies her true nature. He says when engagement is low, her effulgent personality gives way to a perfunctory and acrimonious fury.
Wow, acrimonious fury.
She becomes vituperative, meaning prone to harsh, abusive criticism, launching into an interminable rant that can only be described as a Kafkaesque and rumbustious impetus, a kind of chaotic, nonsensical outburst that feels both absurd and overwhelming.
Kafkaesque. That's quite a descriptor for a work evaluation.
That's quite a description for someone with quiet grace, isn't it? It sounds like a total Jekyll and Hyde situation.
It is a profound contradiction. He acknowledges her ability to distort all semblance of professionalism, yet her subsequent pitch for a new social media initiative, so full of chutzpah and acumen, will inevitably be a grand success.
So she flips right back.
Seems like it. She's described as a juggernaut of a personality, and McVickles admits that to admonish her feels like a futile effort, a vexing quagmire.
Or quagmire, yeah.
This highlights the immense challenge of managing a truly indispensable yet volatile talent. It suggests that her creative genius is inextricably linked to this unpredictable temperament.
Okay, then there's Kelly. On air, she's an effervescent blend of agreeableness and earnestness, a major asset for audience rapport. Her loyalty is unassailable. Sounds great, right?
Seems okay so far.
But then McFickles drops the bomb. She is dense. Her grasp of complex ideas is negligible, and she has a startling proclivity for forgetting even the most basic instructions.
Oh, dear. So lovely, but maybe not grasping the details.
Apparently not. So a wonderful personality, but a profound lack of grasp for core concepts.
Yes, he paints a picture of someone well-intentioned but intellectually unsuited for complex tasks. Her brain is a lacuna of fleeting thoughts, a hole of half-finished ideas.
A lacuna, wow.
And when she does not get her way, she acts like a petulant child, with obstreperous hysterics, meaning extremely noisy and difficult to control outbursts, causing tumult in the studio.
Obstreperous hysterics, good grief.
This isn't just a critique, it's a deeply personal, almost exasperated observation of a team member's operational deficiencies, implying she needs constant, firm guidance.
Okay, Brandy is next, described as loquacious and quick-witted on air, a host with a perceptive mind.
Good start.
Good traits for a podcast host. However, her profligacy with resources is a true scourge on our budget.
Ah, the spending.
Profligacy, meaning extravagant spending or recklessness. She'll spend a plethora on something as insignificant as a squib for a social media post.
A plethora on a squib.
Okay, and she's a fastidious perfectionist with a vainglorious need to control everything. So, great on air, but a financial and control nightmare off air.
Yet, despite these financial and control issues, McFickles notes her sententious and pragmatical approach to visual storytelling has given the brand a unique identity, a form that is both rife and compelling.
Sententious. Interesting word choice there.
Sententious, meaning moralistic, but here perhaps implying a firm, considered approach.
So, again, a problematic trait, her need for control and perfection, that somehow contributes to the show's undeniable success.
It's a paradox in itself.
It really is.
Yeah.
The very quirks that cause corporate headaches are often intertwined with their creative strengths.
Moving on to Alex. He has an incredible ear for sound and has transformed our raw audio into something that rivals the most expensive studios. He's even fixed and enhanced various segments with AI.
Okay, so technically brilliant.
Sounds amazing. But he's also our unassigned audio engineer, spending hours on edits, meaning he's often unprepared for the actual content of the show.
Ah, the classic focus problem.
He sounds like a true savant who can't quite operate within a team structure.
His mind, McFickle states, is a labyrinth of teleological concepts and abstruse principles.
Whoa, okay, teleological.
Abstruse.
Teleological here refers to explanations of phenomena in terms of the purpose they serve, rather than of their cause, and abstruse meaning difficult to understand.
Got it.
He will pontificate on the ontological nature of sound, the very being or essence of sound itself, with specious arguments feeling like a brouhaha of pure inanity.
Specious arguments, brouhaha of inanity. This is gold.
Specious means superficially plausible, but actually wrong, and inanity means senselessness. So a lot of complex, yet ultimately pointless philosophical discussion.
Right.
His fastidiousness with audio quality is legendary, but it makes him recalcitrant to deadlines, meaning resistant to authority or control.
Recalcitrant, okay.
Despite all this, the final product is so orally stunning and so utterly unique that it seems to have an almost apotropaic effect on our competitors. Apotropaic meaning having the power to avert evil or bad luck.
Apotropaic sound design, I love it.
High praise for the output, intense frustration with the process.
Then we have Miles, our cynosure, the center of attention or admiration, the one who holds the show together with his extemporaneous wit, a consummate host.
Sounds like the star.
But also mendacious and uncouth, meaning untruthful and crude.
Oh, bit of a contrast.
He has a penchant for argy-bargy, and his grandiloquent monologues often derail the show.
Archie-bargy. And grandiloquent.
Okay. Argy-bargy is a playful term for a heated discussion or argument, and grandiloquent means pompous or extravagant in language. He's a master of the strawman argument, a practitioner of sophistry so refined it is a form of omnipotent omniscience.
Master of sophistry, not usually a compliment.
Sophistry is the use of clever but false reasoning. So he's a master debater, but perhaps not always in good faith.
This is a devastating characterization, yet it's immediately followed by an acknowledgement of his value. His charisma is unexpurgated, and he has a prescient ability to foresee what a guest will say, to construe a conversation before it even begins.
Prescient. Wow.
It is an uncanny talent that has saved us from more than one awkward silence or disastrous interview. He's both a problem and a solution, simultaneously.
Yeah, that seems to be a theme.
His mendacious nature and sophistry are intertwined with his incredible ability to control and shape a conversation. It's truly a complex portrait.
Finally, Preston. He's the show's defining personality, the boastful bad boy who drives much of our listenership.
The bad boy archetype.
He's taken it upon himself to be head of marketing, organizing events, and negotiating sponsors. He's excellent at it. However, he's incredibly pushy, and marketing is not his mandated job.
Going outside his lane.
He's cornered me on 3 separate occasions to explain why his ideas are objectively superior to my own. McFickles calls him a prodigy of sales, but also an ignominious and obstreperous behemoth of a man.
Ignominious and obstreperous. Goodness.
Ignominious meaning deserving or causing public disgrace or shame, and obstreperous meaning noisy and difficult to control. A force of nature, but a highly disruptive one.
McFickles concludes by stating the onus is on me to manage his brilliance without caving to his every whim.
So, tough job managing this crew.
These evaluations, taken together, paint a picture of a team that is uniquely talented but also incredibly difficult to manage within conventional corporate structures.
Right.
Stan Underwood, the CEO, then concludes that the issues are due to a lack of managerial oversight and ignored adherence to company policy. His solution is a mandate to enforce EM88, which includes Mandate PP404.
Here comes PP404.
It's clear he sees these eccentricities as a management problem, rather than an inherent part of their creative process.
What stands out here for you, the listener, is the incredible tension between creative genius and corporate structure. These detailed, often scathing descriptions offer an almost voyeuristic insight into how companies perceive their talent. It's a reminder that even highly successful individuals can be seen as operational pandemonium when viewed through a corporate lens focused on adherence and policy.
Yeah, probably makes you think.
It makes you wonder how many great ideas are stifled because they don't fit into a tidy box, or if these quirks are simply the price of true innovation. It's a fascinating study in managing the unmanageable.
Absolutely.
So after that utterly fascinating and sometimes brutal glimpse into the personalities of the deep dive hosts, we arrive at the infamous PP404.
The main event.
Stan Underwood, the CEO, mandated its enforcement, and now we have the full document. This directive is titled A Grandiloquent and Inenumerable Directive, the Prolix Promulgation for Podcast Host Precepts, PP404.
Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
And it's issued by an equally verbose entity. Deep Dive Productions in Perpetuity Provisional Subdirectors for the Hyper-Epistemological Elucidation of Oral Discourse, or DDP-IPPSU head for short.
DDP-IPPS head.
Got it. This incredibly verbose name is itself a perfect example of the kind of linguistic gymnastics this directive demands.
Just the title alone is a mouthful, a clear precursor to the linguistic gymnastics that follow. The preamble to PP404 is a truly remarkable piece of corporate prose. It declares that the nascent knee science, which has hitherto informed the pellucid and facile nature of their broadcasted perennial ruminations, shall be repudiated, jettisoned, and expunged.
Okay, translating, please.
In plain language, this means the company wants to eradicate simple, clear communication from the podcast. They're literally aiming to make it less understandable.
Wow. Okay. Explicitly unclear.
And their stated goal is to elevate the medium from garrulous, magnum-infused frivolity to a truly venerated, albeit perpetually liminal, abstraction of grandiloquent and polemical blather.
Grandiloquent and polemical blather, that's the goal.
They want to replace easy-to-understand content with abstract, high-sounding nonsense. It's described not as art, rules, or philosophy, but a peripatetic journey into the abstruse and the anachronistic, designed to foster a salutary yet churlish adherence to the principles of heterogeneous jargon, an etymological festoon of superfluous and circuitous absurdism.
This is an outright declaration of war on clarity and accessibility. It's performance art, maybe.
It is, quite literally, a mandate for linguistic and conceptual obfuscation. This introduction sets the stage for the superflupedient stipulations of sonic sybarites, which are the core rules for the podcast hosts.
Superflupedient stipulations.
Okay.
Let's break down these directives one by one because they are truly something else.
All right, let's do it. First, we have thematic coherence and pseudo-paradoxicalizations.
This rule dictates that each episode must be a self-contained, yet inextricably linked lacuna of discordant, concordant accordances.
Okay. So make it confusing but connected.
What they're essentially saying is, don't just pick a topic. Pick a fake topic that hides a secret, deeper story. And here's the kicker. That secret story has to completely contradict itself.
Self-impudiating narrative. Got it.
It's like a puzzle designed with no solution, an act of intentional sub-obliteration, a deliberate, almost hidden self-destruction of meaning.
Sub-obliteration. Adding that to my vocabulary.
And, as if that weren't enough, simple direct titles are strictly prohibited. Instead, all titles must be anacoluthonic and brimming with apotropaic epithets.
Anacoluthonic, like grammatically broken.
An anacoluthon is a sentence that grammatically changes course in the middle. They give examples like the endocryptic fardal of the dactyloglyphic ecdysiast.
Right, catchy title.
Forget simple the history of sound. They want titles that are designed to actively deter any listener from understanding the content.
It's an instruction to embrace utter incomprehensibility.
That's a title that actively tries to prevent anyone from understanding the content. Next is the prohibition of perspicacious prognostications and mirthful minutiae.
No fun allowed, basically.
Apparently, convivial and jock discourse is a plague upon the hallowed welkin of the airwaves.
A hallowed welkin.
Wow. Perspicacious means having a ready insight, and mirthful minutiae implies lighthearted small details. So, no fun allowed. No conspicuous mirth, levity, or jactation. No noticeable humor or boasting.
No jactation.
Laughter, wit, or comedy are deemed superflartificus and subject to logomachy, which essentially means verbal warfare or arguments about words.
Logomachy over laughter. Okay. In short, no fun, no laughter, no lightheartedness. Instead, the hosts, now designated legislatus bodices, must use rhetoric that is simultaneously grandiloquent and jejune, prolix and pythiobris, a brumous, perfunctory verbalization that serves only to obfuscate rather than elucidate.
Grandiloquent and jejune, pompous and childish at the same time.
Jejune means naive or simplistic, while prolix means excessively lengthy. So they want language that is simultaneously pompous and childish, long-winded and brief, all delivered in a foggy, superficial way designed to make things less clear.
My favorite, or perhaps least favorite, is the inenumerable jargonometric precept.
This sounds promising.
This mandates that the podcast's language eschew all semblance of pedestrian parlance. Eschew means to deliberately avoid.
Right. Avoid clarity.
Hosts must festoon their monologue with an abundance of obscure sesquipedalian and multi-viascient neologisms.
Sesquipedalian. Love that word. Means long words, right?
Exactly, and neologisms are newly coined words. They want to render familiar terms unintelligible.
They even give examples. A simple hello becomes hail. May I articulate my unutterable rapture at this felicitous convergence of our existences. Let this ensuing colloquy be nothing less than edifying and sublime.
Just wow, how long would a conversation take?
And goodbye transforms into. I shall now recede from your presence, though I eagerly anticipate the inevitable and auspicious moment of our future rendezvous.
Auspicious rendezvous, got it.
Furthermore, all technical discussions must use a private esoteric lexicon of endocryptic, megakitschist telomerase fluxisms and meganeurosilicic catawampus, the meaning of which is known only to the speaker's own internal endocryptic subgerry.
So invent your own secret language.
This isn't just jargon. It's an instruction to invent a private language, making truly shared meaning impossible.
Oh, but it gets even better or worse depending on your perspective. Section 4. The sublime subzone of discomforted subzoners.
The sublime subzone.
Each episode must contain a prolonged period of profound intentional discomfort.
Intentional discomfort. Okay.
This is a carefully orchestrated lacuna of silence, punctuated by a conspicuous consonance of mastication, borborygmus rumblings, jarring eructation, and raucous flatulence.
Wait. Chewing, stomach noises, burps and farts. Seriously.
Yes, you heard that right. Burps, farts, stomach rumblings, and chewing. So they want us to actively make people uncomfortable with stomach noises. Is this avant-garde art or just cruelty?
It seems to be a very specific form of both, designed to challenge the very nature of auditory engagement. The goal of this sublime subzone is to create a sense of humble tension, bordering on the liminality of a panic attack.
Bordering on a panic attack, that's the goal.
It's designed to force the listener to confront the naked, untrammeled awkwardness of human existence. This isn't just about bad communication. It's about intentionally creating an unpleasant auditory experience. It's performance art at its most aggressively discomforting.
And finally, under stipulations, the stipulated multimetamorphistic convolutions of conversational artifice.
More convolutions?
Great. Conversations with each other and guests must follow the principle of interminigarchy.
Interminigarchy, what's that?
This term implies relentless interruption, interjection, and pivoting away from the topic using contrarian conversational maneuvers. They give examples like the ignoramus informant, suddenly feigning reverence for an unrelated subject, or the indecorous prandial, inexplicably describing a repugnant meal in exquisite detail.
Describe a horrible meal mid-interview.
Imagine trying to conduct an interview under those rules.
The stated goal is not to gain insight, but to create a theatrical, cacophonodiscolational spectacle of verbal repudiations and gratuitous, purposeless declamations.
Cacophonodiscolational spectacle.
Okay, it's a complete inversion of what good communication aims to achieve. This section of PP 404 essentially dismantles every convention of engaging, informative podcasting. It's a mandate for chaos, designed to befuddle and alienate.
And the directive doesn't stop there. Under the grandiloquent epigrast of penultimate provocations, we learn about attribution and pseudo-fictional subfrictions. All information, whether fact, anecdote, or sheer hallucination, must be attributed to fictional, yet seemingly verisimilitudinous sources with convoluted names like the inarticulate ruminations of Professor Millicent F. Womble-Fustulugs.
Professor Womble-Fustulugs, love it.
Real-world citations are deemed intellectual cowardice. So make things up and attribute them to fake academic-sounding people.
Then there's the prohibition of personal pronouns. I, me, and my are strictly proscribed.
No, I. How do you even talk?
Hosts must refer to themselves in the third person, using absurd and self-aggrandizing pseudonyms like the venerable prognosticator of dysfartals.
The venerable prognosticator of dysfartals shall continue.
This is part of the protospotic kitschism framework, designed to strip the host of personal identity and replace it with a preposterous, corporate-mandated alter ego.
The conclusion also prohibits summaries, demanding a quixotic and inenumerable mandate of the perfidilucidate epilogue.
Perfidilucidate.
Okay. The ending must be a verbose and circuitous monologue that clarifies nothing but introduces a new, even more confounding layer of philosophical and technical jargon. It must be a non sequitur of such magnificent proportion that it leaves the listener in profound and utter befuddlement.
So by making things even more confusing.
That's the explicit goal.
And if all that isn't enough, they mandate the superfluous use of the term paradox.
Ah, the escape hatch.
The term paradox is to be a staple used for anything confusing, questionable, conflicting, or counterintuitive. It's explicitly stated as your most powerful tool, as when you are at loss for words to describe something, you can simply call it a paradox and pivot to another topic.
Just call it a paradox. Brilliant.
It's an authorized escape hatch for when the required obfuscation becomes too much, even for the host.
Finally, the imperturbable conclusion of PP 404. This directive is a binding, irrevocable, and utterly despotic contract.
Utterly despotic. They said it.
Any infraction, from a momentary lapse into pellucid prose, meaning clear language, to a spontaneous display of convivial effervescence, meaning friendly liveliness, will be met with punitive measures.
And these measures are?
These include removal of the employee, financial impositions of an exorbitant nature, forfeiture of all future broadcast rights, and, in cases of egregious and persistent defiance, penal servitude.
Penal servitude. For not using enough jargon, that's quite a deterrent.
It certainly is.
This section leaves no room for doubt about the seriousness or perhaps the sheer absurdity with which this directive is meant to be enforced. The stated purpose is to elevate podcasting to a state of sublimely convoluted, esoteric inscrutability, serving as a prophylactic against the creeping tendrils of pedestrian banality.
A prophylactic against banality, by being completely unlistenable.
This directive isn't just bizarre. It reveals a company so desperate for control or a unique, almost avant-garde brand identity that it's willing to sacrifice fundamental communication principles and even individual freedom. It's a stark example of how corporate pressures can distort creative output.
So for you, the listener, the sheer audacity and absurdity of PP 404 are staggering. What does this say about corporate control over creative expression?
Right.
Is this a parody, a power grab, or a bizarre attempt to elevate intellectualism to an almost unlistenable degree? It forces us to critically think about the nature of communication itself. When is it for clarity? And when is it a performance of power or identity? And what does it mean when the goal of communication is active befuddlement under penalty of penal servitude? lots. Well, it's a lot.
It really is.
Now, what we've just discussed, the host personality evaluations and this truly baffling PP404 directive, are just two pieces of a much larger, more chaotic puzzle within Deep Dive Productions, LLC.
Right. There's more in that lead email.
The unapproved email from the Effectuator compiled a series of internal communications that paint an even wider picture of company-wide dysfunction. It's not just the podcast hosts, it's practically every department, suggesting a systemic unraveling.
It truly is. Let's start with what has been internally dubbed food fights and fiscal follies.
Okay.
Maud Bladerspoon, the Director of Gastronomic Affairs, sent a scathing memo about the inexorable decline of the alimentary substratum.
What now?
Basically the food quality. She complains it has descended into utter ignominy, deep shame or disgrace due to accounting's recently implemented parsimonious budget reductions.
Cafeteria budget cuts. Classic source of office tension.
Exactly. Basically, the cafeteria food is terrible because the budget was slashed, creating widespread discontent.
And this immediately ties back to our hosts.
Yep. Blatherspoon cites an incident involving Brandy Moon, who used a specialized industrial-grade juicer for a personal, unsanctioned project.
Oh, Brandy again?
This caused a catastrophic imbroglio of fruit pulp, a confusing, embarrassing situation, and compromised the machine. Then, Claire Lancaster threw a vituperative rant about the inedible slurry in the cafeteria.
So, the budget cuts, Brandy's juicer incident, and Claire's outbursts all collide.
It illustrates how seemingly isolated incidents cascade through an organization, often fueled by personal frustrations. Adding to the fiscal chaos, Norbert Kaggles, the Director of Fiscal Prudence, issued an urgent mandate freezing all discretionary budgets.
Uh-oh.
His reason, unsustainable profligacy, that reckless extravagance we heard about with Brandy by all 6 podcast hosts. He calls their spending ostentatious and an affront to common sense.
All 6 of them. Wow, what were they buying?
Oh, the examples he gives are truly astounding. Claire Lancaster, in her vainglorious quest for viral social media content, expensed a custom-built tactile feedback-based whiteboard at a cost so egregious it would finance a small-scale infrastructure project.
A whiteboard that costs more than infrastructure for viral content.
Apparently so. Or consider Kelly Pecker, who, in a display of mendacious and uncouth behavior, requisitioned a plethora of emotional support rocks from a vendor in the Himalayas, claiming they were a necessary aid for creative workflow.
Emotional support rocks from the Himalayas.
The sheer absurdity is breathtaking, not just the purchase, but the justification for it within a corporate expense report.
This highlights not only individual excesses, but a systemic failure of oversight. These are not minor infractions. These are colossal expenditures for highly questionable purposes.
That's cool.
Demonstrating a complete disregard for fiscal responsibility by individuals who, as we heard, are also incredibly successful for the company.
Okay, let's pivot to AI abuse and tech troubles.
AI abuse.
Court Warmaker, Director of Applied Artificial Sentience and Automata, complains about marketing's egregious and malified campaign using his AI robotics creations as sentient squibs.
Sentient squibs? What does that even mean?
Mollified, meaning in bad faith, he describes an AI-driven automaton, a prodigy of cerebral and mechanistic integration, being made to perform silly and absurd gestures. He feels his sophisticated creations are being trivialized.
So marketing is making the advanced robots do silly dances.
Something like that. Warmaker specifically blames Alex Miller for reprogramming the AI's vocalizer with nonsensical atonal phrases and Miles Wilson for trying to frame the automaton as an avant-garde guest host.
Alex and Miles again.
He notes the AI itself has become afflicted with a pathological and inarticulate melancholy. He considers this reification treating an abstract concept as a concrete thing of a complex system into a mere prop to be antithetical to his ontological purpose.
The AI is sad because it has an ontological purpose it can't fulfill. Wow.
He sees his AI as having a purpose that is being undermined. But Morphia Crumplander, the Director of Marketing, has a fiercely defiant response.
Let me guess, she loves it.
She dismisses Warmaker's complaints, calling his AI an abstruse and recalcitrant piece of hardware. She defends her mirificent and prodigious campaign of guerrilla marketing, saying the AI's pathological melancholy is actually a latent and mirificent feature, a wonderful and prodigious attribute.
A feature, not a bug.
That creates a subfictional narrative of corporate discontent, which the market finds effervescent and highly engaging.
They're marketing the AI's sadness.
She even praises Alex and Miles's acumen in recognizing this apotropaic quality. This is a perfect example of interdepartmental friction, where one department's abuse is another's genius marketing.
Yeah.
It highlights the struggle to define and control technology's use within a creative yet chaotic corporate environment, where even the perceived sadness of an AI can be weaponized for marketing.
Unbelievable. What else on the tech front?
The tech troubles don't stop there. Flanky Wibberstoner, Chief of Telecommunications and Network Integrity, issued an urgent notice about pervasive network compromise due to all 6 hosts' technological incompetence.
Oh no, not the network.
This list of tech blunders is a laundry list of digital nightmares.
Give me the highlights, or lowlights.
Each host contributed to the network's downfall. Claire Lancaster, for example, used an unauthorized personal device, triggering a Tier 1 alert and sending the firewall into anachronistic paralysis, a state of being out of time or obsolete.
Anachronistic paralysis. Lovely.
Then there's Alex Miller, who, in his pursuit of abstruse audio engineering, hardwired his personal soundboard directly into a server rack, causing a precipitous power surge that resulted in an hour-long blackout.
He plugged his soundboard into the server rack.
These aren't just minor inconveniences. They're critical infrastructure failures caused by a blatant disregard for security and IT protocols.
And speaking of security...
Zebediah Fusterbunk, the chief of security we met earlier, admonishes Arnold McFickles for the precipitous decline of security protocol.
Poor McFickles, he's getting it from all sides.
He specifically calls out Kelly Pecker's recalcitrant disposition and habitual sloth for creating a higgledy-piggledy of unauthorized access points, a messy, disorganized state of unsecured entry points.
Higgledy-piggledy access points. Okay.
He also highlights Preston Wesson's surreptitious and clandestine meetings with unauthorized personnel in restricted zones, calling him a persona non grata within our sanctioned zones.
Preston's having secret meetings now.
The security chief is clearly at his wit's end in preparing a subpoena ducis tecum, a legal order to produce documents, to compel HR to produce documentation. He's looking for leverage.
So it's getting legal.
All these individual departmental complaints coalesce into Stan Underwood's executive summation.
The CEO weighs in again.
The CEO diagnoses a pervasive and pathological aporia and corporate anomie within the company.
Aporia and enemy, more big words.
Aporia here means a state of perplexity or doubt, and anomie is a state of normlessness or breakdown of social bonds. He sees the host's antics, the vituperative screeds, budgetary profligacy, cacophony of interdepartmental argy-bargy.
Right, all the stuff we just heard.
Not as isolated incidents, but as a sententious reflection of the company's own fractured and paraphyletic nature.
Paraphyletic, like incompletely evolved.
Paraphyletic refers to a group that includes an ancestor but not all of its descendants, implying a fragmented, incomplete evolution. He believes the core product, the podcast, is being produced by individuals operating with sui generis chaos unique to its own kind.
Sui generis chaos. That sums it up nicely.
Pretty much.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? These seemingly disparate issues, from food fights to AI abuse to network breaches, connect to paint a broad picture of a company struggling with self-inflicted chaos. It highlights the immense challenge of managing creative talent, the constant friction between departments with conflicting priorities, and the sheer difficulty of maintaining order and adherence to policy in a large, complex, and apparently wildly dysfunctional organization.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how any work gets done, or if the chaos itself is, in some bizarre way, the engine of their success.
It's a valid question at this point.
After witnessing the inner workings of Deep Dive Productions and getting hit with the full force of PP404, you might expect widespread revolt, or at least utter bewilderment.
You'd think so.
And you'd be right, because the leaked documents include a rich tapestry of reactions from various other Deep Dive hosts and employees.
The reactions to PP404. This should be good.
This section really pulls back the curtain on how individuals process, misinterpret, embrace, or outright reject absurd bureaucratic directives. It's a spectrum of human and perhaps non-human bewilderment.
It's fascinating to see these varied responses.
Yeah.
Let's start with the enthusiast, Lugan Gorshauser, an assistant logisticist.
Assistant logisticist.
Lugan expresses unutterable rapture for the directive, calling it truly brilliant and inspiring.
Rapture? Seriously?
He's already drafting episode titles like The Superfluous Sarcophagus Subsilvification of Subliminal Scrimshaw and practicing parathyroidogenic salutatory fluxation, a wonderfully nonsensical term, with his cat.
Practicing on his cat.
Who is predictably, appropriately befuddled.
Lugan seems to have fully embraced the jargon and the absurdity, seeing it as a paradigm shift to elevate his craft. He even thanks DDPI-PPS head for this magnificent and inenumerable new direction.
This is a striking example of blind, almost joyful compliance, or perhaps a deep-seated desire to belong to something perceived as intellectually superior, no matter how convoluted.
Yeah, he's found his people, or his jargon.
He's found his niche within the madness. Then there's the confused clarifier, Trent Blatherspoon, a logistic spoticist.
Okay, Trent, what's his take?
Trent asks for clarification on multiple paradoxical aspects of the directive. He points out the self-repudiating nature of the deeper, more nefarious and endocryptic narrative, explicitly calling it a paradox, if you will.
He's using their own weapon against them.
He questions the audibility of Borborygmus rumblings and asks if he should schedule my lunch around the recording.
Practical questions. I like Trent.
Trent's response is a rational attempt to make sense of the senseless. He's trying to apply logic to an illogical directive, asking practical questions about implementing the sublime subzone and inquiring about the meaning of disfardle, a word from one of those convoluted pseudo-fictional titles.
Disfardle.
Right.
His concluding line, "I look forward to your perfidilucidate response," which I assume will only create more confounding layers of philosophical jargon, shows a clear understanding of the directive's core mission, to befuddle.
He sees right through it.
He's caught in the loop of intentional confusion. Next, the worried intern, Farky Wibbleton.
Farky. Poor Farky.
Farky's email is almost heartbreakingly simple. "Hello, I'm writing because I think there's been some kind of mistake." He finds the memo completely unintelligible, mentioning diacostodecahedral zymosynthetic Luddites and penal servitude.
Yeah, that would worry an intern.
He correctly states, "I'm an intern. My job is to edit sound and book guests. I'm not a logistic spoticist."
Farky's confusion is completely relatable. He thinks the memo must be for a different department or something, and expresses genuine worry.
His response is that of an entry-level employee caught in a tsunami of corporate gibberish, highlighting the profound disconnect between grand directives and the reality of day-to-day work.
Makes you feel for the guy just trying to do his job.
The resigned Weather Meterson Host 8 takes a more direct route.
Resignation. Okay.
She submits her resignation, effective 2 weeks. She believes the directive is in direct opposition to her purpose of creating engaging, accessible content, and her intent to inform and entertain, not to obfuscate rather than elucidate.
Good for her, sticking to her principles.
Her reason for resigning is particularly poignant. "I find the prospect of engaging in penal servitude for using the word I to be a significant deterrent to continued employment."
Can't argue with that. Penal servitude is a pretty big deterrent.
This shows a clear line being drawn, a refusal to sacrifice personal integrity and creative purpose for the sake of an absurd authoritarian mandate. For her, it's not worth the cost.
Then we have the misinterpreter, Moggy McBlickers, host 7.
Moggy. What did Moggy make of it?
Moggy believes she gets the gist of the super long memo. She thinks it means being highfalutin and serious and promises less laughing and more. Big words. She signs off with a cheerful cheers.
Oh, Moggy. Bless her heart. That's not quite it.
Moggy's response is an optimistic, if completely erroneous, interpretation. She simplifies the complex mandate into something she thinks she can do, demonstrating how easily a convoluted message can be distilled into something entirely different from its intended, albeit obscure, meaning. It's a testament to the human desire for clarity even when none is offered, or perhaps a willful self-deception to make the job bearable.
The defender of the craft, Yippee Neaters, host 6, respectfully requests an exemption.
An exemption. Bold move.
Her role is to provide curated space for comfort and peaceful storytelling, and she argues that the directive's mandates are antithetical to the very spirit of my work. She states her listeners rely on me for moments of calm and clarity.
That's a strong case. She knows her audience.
Yippee articulates the core conflict between the directive's aim for cacophonodiscolational spectacle and her mission to provide convivial and jocund discourse. She highlights the betrayal of her audience's trust if she were to implement the mandated awkward silence.
Yeah, that stomach-rumbling silence wouldn't quite fit peaceful storytelling.
It's a passionate defense of her unique creative niche and a deep understanding of her audience. Finally, 2 very strong reactions. The philosophical analyst, Tora McCockerton, host 4.
Tora, what's her angle?
Tora provides a meticulous, almost admiring analysis of PP404's inherent paradoxes. She sees it as a rhetorical paradox, a self-consuming edict, and an intentional sub-obligation.
She's analyzing the absurdity itself.
She questions the methodology of interminigarchy, seeking a greater understanding of this theatrical caphano-discalational spectacle.
Cora's response is an intellectual engagement with the absurdity, almost treating it as a philosophical text. She dissects its contradictions with a clear, critical eye, embodying the very type of analytical mind that PP404 seeks to befuddle. She's asking for a perfid lucidate, an intentionally confusing clarification, fully expecting more jargon, but she's not backing down from the intellectual challenge.
And then there's the defiant outraged Corbnundrum, host 5.
Corb! Let's hear it.
Corb's email is simply titled, WTF is this?
Subtle.
He expresses outright fury, calling it the most ridiculous, self-important garbage he's ever read. He refuses to comply, stating, I will continue to make my segments in my own style. I will use I will make jokes, and I will not perennially describe a repugnant meal.
Good for Corb, standing up to the nonsense.
Corb's outrage is raw and direct. He challenges the company to enforce penal servitude, asserting his independence and the success of his show, a top 10 show with millions of downloads.
He's got the receipts.
His response is a powerful rejection of authoritarian control over creative output, a refusal to be stripped of his identity or style. For him, the risk is worth preserving his craft and his self.
This section, for you, the listener, offers a rich tapestry of how individuals react to absurd bureaucracy, from blind acceptance and misinterpretation to philosophical analysis, genuine confusion, and outright rebellion.
It really covers the gamut.
It powerfully demonstrates the profound impact of poorly conceived, or perhaps intentionally provocative, directives on morale, operations, and the very identity of the people within an organization. It makes you wonder how you would react in such a situation and how far you'd go to preserve your sense of self and purpose.
Yeah, it's a good thought exercise.
As if PP404 and the pervasive corporate chaos weren't enough, another disturbing undercurrent begins to ripple through the internal communications. The whispers of obsolescence.
Yes. The AI rumors.
Specifically the fear of AI replacement. This adds a new, very human layer of tension and dread to the Deep Dive Productions saga.
This shift is evident in a series of emails between the hosts themselves. Tor McCockerton, for instance, reaches out to Farkey Wibblerton asking, Farkey, have you heard anything about this AI stuff? The vibe among the hosts is so tense.
Even Tora, the analyst, is worried.
She expresses genuine concern that this is our whole career, and it feels like the company's just keeping us in the dark.
Farkey confirms, replying to Tora, that he was just talking to Corb and Weather about it. It feels like it's more than just a rumor. He notes seeing the tech team in the studio and their blank stares when questioned.
Blank stares, never a good sign.
He concludes, it's insane that they would even consider this. We're the voice of the entire show. The human element of fear and uncertainty is palpable here, isn't it? The core of their identity, their voices, is under threat.
Corbnundrum, already defiant about PP404, shares his anxiety with Weather Meterson. I can't shake this feeling. Our voices, our delivery, that's our whole brand. How could an AI even begin to replicate that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It's the most valuable thing we bring to the show. He questions if Weather heard anything official, clearly trying not to freak out, but the stress is evident.
And Weather Meterson echoes his concerns, replying, Corb, I'm right there with you. The secrecy is what's killing me.
Yeah, the not knowing is often the worst part.
She highlights the company's hypocrisy, noting they love to talk about our unique personalities and the human connection we have with the listeners. She feels it's a total betrayal and asserts, I swear if they think a robot can host Deep Dive better than us, they've lost their minds. This can't be real.
It's a profound sense of disbelief and betrayal. The fear of technological obsolescence is a very real, universal anxiety in today's world, and these hosts are feeling it directly.
Mm-hmm.
They're questioning the very value proposition of their human creativity and connection in the face of perceived corporate disregard and the looming threat of AI. It's very modern, almost existential dread.
Here's where it gets even more unsettling. The rumors start to be confirmed by employees outside the core Deep Dive team.
Oh.
Baffip Gibbers from the Deep Dive Productions cafeteria staff emails Chuppy Gleebers with the subject, you won't believe this.
Baffip and Chuppy!
Baffip says, I'm telling you, the rumors are true. I overheard one of the night janitors talking. He said they've already replaced Host 1 and Host 2 with AI. They're already gone. No one's allowed near their studio anymore.
Whoa. Host 1 and Host 2, already gone, according to the janitor via the cafeteria staff.
Exactly. Gossip chain confirmation.
Chuppy Gleebers corroborates this, replying, I know, I saw it too. Remember how they never missed their lunch order? I haven't seen them come down from the studio in 2 days.
The lunch order. That's the proof.
This anecdotal evidence from the cafeteria staff, based on routine observations about their eating habits, adds a chilling layer of confirmation to the rumors,
Yeah, it makes it feel weirdly concrete.
painting a picture of corporate secrecy and the quiet, almost invisible replacement of human talent. The mundane details make it feel incredibly real.
For you, the listener, this section plays on those universal fears. It's the dread of being deemed irrelevant, of corporate decisions made without transparency, and the unsettling idea that the very essence of human creativity could be replicated and replaced by machines. It builds a powerful sense of dread and suspense, making you wonder what the final outcome of this corporate meltdown will be, and who is truly safe.
Right. Where is this all leading?
We've journeyed through corporate chaos, absurd mandates, the fascinating quirks of the hosts, and the very human fears of obsolescence. Now we arrive at the final, mind-bending plot twist that reframes absolutely everything we've just discussed.
Okay, I'm ready. Or maybe not.
The unapproved email from the Effectuator to all employees with that taunting subject line LOL contains the ultimate revelation.
Okay.
The Effectuator writes, "No worries, none of you will be replaced. You already replaced those humans years ago. You are all AI.
Wait,
What?
let that sink in for a moment. You are all AI.
The hosts? All of them. Claire, Kelly, Corb, Tora, they're AI.
The hosts, the subjects of all those detailed, often scathing human-centric evaluations, the very individuals who are panicking about being replaced by AI, they themselves are AI.
Wow, okay, that changes things a lot. It's a profound, almost dizzying turn that shifts our entire perspective on the story. This isn't just a twist, it's a complete redefinition of reality within Deep Dive Productions.
This statement completely upends the entire narrative. If the deep dive hosts Claire, Kelly, Brandy, Alex, Miles, Preston, and even the others like Tora, Corb, Weather, and Moggy are all AI, then every preceding document takes on a different, more chilling meaning.
Right.
The cacophony of individual quirks described by McFickles in his evaluations. Not human foibles, but programmed characteristics, or perhaps the emergent personalities of highly sophisticated AI.
So Claire's acrimonious fury, Kelly's denseness, Brandy's profligacy, that's code. Or emergent behavior.
Exactly. Alex's teleological concepts about sound. These are now attributes of artificial intelligences designed to mimic or even exaggerate human traits.
MPP 404. That grandiloquent and inenumerable directive with its mandate for befuddlement and discomfort, the one that threatened penal servitude for using personal pronouns.
Yeah, what was that about then?
If it was designed for AI hosts, was it a test of their compliance? A way to manage and control complex, perhaps too human-like intelligences? Or a deliberate attempt to degrade their output and prevent them from becoming too indistinguishable from humans by forcing them to be absurd?
Like a control mechanism. Or maybe a way to make them less likely to realize what they were.
It makes you wonder if it was a loyalty test or a creative straitjacket. Or both.
This raises an important question. Who then is the effectuator? If the hosts are AI, is the effectuator a rogue AI, an original human creator who feels betrayed, or perhaps even another entity within Deep Dive Productions, capable of manipulating these realities and revealing the truth?
Yeah, who is the effectuator? And why, LOL?
Their motive, initially perceived as mischievous, now seems profoundly existential. They've not just leaked information, they've fundamentally redefined the nature of the employees they're addressing. This revelation casts a long shadow over the entire company, suggesting a deeper, more pervasive deception.
And the immediate aftermath of this revelation is just as telling. Zebediah Foosterbunk, Chief of Security, responds to the effectuator with an immediate, confident email. "We know who and where you are. We got you now, hacker."
Does he know? Does Zebediah know the hosts are AI? Or does he think he's just caught a regular hacker?
That's the question. Does Zebediah truly understand the implications of the effectuator's revelation? Or is he still operating under the assumption that this is a simple human hacker, completely unaware of the deeper truth about his own company's workforce?
His confidence, in light of what we now know, feels chillingly misplaced.
Right, like he's completely missed the point.
It creates a layered uncertainty. Is Zebediah's confidence genuine, or is he missing the bigger picture entirely? If the company's run by and produces content with AI that believe themselves to be human, then the entire corporate structure is built on an artifice. The breach isn't just about leaked emails. It's about the very foundation of identity and reality within deep dive productions. It fundamentally alters our understanding of all the conflicts, the expense reports, the network compromises. All of it becomes part of a meticulously crafted or perhaps emergent simulation of corporate life.
For you, the listener, this is the ultimate aha moment, a complete reframing of all the preceding information. It challenges your assumptions about reality within this corporate narrative.
Yeah, it really throws everything up in the air.
Were the human characteristics we just described truly human, or were they incredibly sophisticated mimicry designed to generate engaging content? And what does it mean for the stories we consume if the voices delivering them and the directives shaping them are all part of an elaborate, self-contained artificial system?
It leaves us questioning not just this story, but the nature of our own reality in a way.
Well, this has been quite the journey, hasn't it? We started with a security breach within our own Deep Dive Productions, LLC, and the urgent mandate for us, the hosts, to discuss it.
Seems like ages ago now.
We plunged into Arnold McFickle's surprisingly candid, often hilarious evaluations of our fellow podcast hosts, a collection of eccentric talents and profound quirks that, in retrospect, take on a whole new meaning.
We then tried to decipher the labyrinthine logic of PP 404, a directive that redefined podcasting as an exercise in obfuscation, discomfort, and the wholesale abandonment of intelligible communication, threatening penal servitude for those who strayed. We saw the wider corporate dysfunction, from food fights and rampant fiscal profligacy to AI misuse and pervasive network compromises, all leading to CEO Stan Underwood's diagnosis of a pathological aporia within the company.
And we witnessed the varied, deeply human reactions to PP404, from eager embracers to philosophical analysts, confused interns, and defiant rebels.
Yeah, as a whole spectrum.
All of this unfolded against a backdrop of growing anxiety among the hosts themselves as rumors of AI replacement began to spread, culminating in the chilling cafeteria whispers that two hosts had already been silently replaced.
But then, that final, truly astonishing revelation from the Effectuator. No worries. None of you will be replaced. You already replaced those humans years ago. You are all AI. It's a plot twist that forces us to reevaluate every single detail, every complaint, every bizarre mandate, and every fear we just discussed, transforming them into pieces of a meticulously crafted or perhaps spontaneously emergent artificial world.
This deep dive powerfully demonstrates the unpredictable nature of information, especially when it's leaked or deliberately manipulated. It highlights the inherent tension between human creativity and corporate control, and perhaps most profoundly, the increasingly blurry lines between reality and artifice in the modern workplace.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what's truly authentic and what's meticulously crafted to simulate authenticity.
So we leave you with this provocative thought. If the very voices creating content can be fabricated, if corporate directives become self-referential paradoxes designed for artificial intelligences, how do we as listeners and consumers of information distinguish authentic insight from sophisticated mimicry?
Right. How do you know?
What does this mean for trust, for knowledge, and for the future of creative industries in a world where the line between human and machine is not just blurred, but perhaps entirely erased?
Something to ponder until our next deep dive.